Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the January 11th, 2022 Wareham Board of Selectmen meeting. May I have a call to order? Mr. Titlebaum, please.
Well, you've made the call to order. If you're looking for a roll call, I'll do a quick roll call. Is Selectman Tropiano not joining us?
I don't know that he's not, but he's not in the waiting room, so.
Okay, well, if you need me to be clerk pro tem, then why don't you ask for a motion and then I'll do a roll call.
Okay,
So made.
Second.
thank you. Motion made to appoint Mr. Titlebaum clerk pro tem. Roll call vote, please. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
myself, yes, thank you.
Okay, roll call. Chairman Whiteside, Selectman Slavin, Manise, and Titlebaum are present along with town council. We'll check and see where town administrator and Mr. Tropiano are.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Slavin, can you do the Pledge of Allegiance, please, for us?
Yes.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of
Flag.
the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Announcements. We'll start with you, Mr. Slavin.
Well, guess what? It's cold out there. If you're not well or old like me, cold is not good for you. I suggest you try and stay in and be careful while this is going on. It is something you just can't get used to no matter what you do. So I'm asking everybody to please be careful with this weather. It's not good for anyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Manise, announcements, sir? You're muted, sir.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
I was on my other screen looking at the agenda.
Okay, great.
Sorry.
Thank you. So you have no announcements, sir?
Oh, we're good, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Titlebaum?
Yes, dog licenses are available now. You can get them either in person at the clerk's office, or you can send a self-addressed stamped envelope and get the license that way. The only thing is if they send it through the mail, you don't get that little metal sort of S hook that you use to put it on the dog's collar, because they can't send that through the mail. But the information is on the clerk's website, so make sure you do this, please. You have until April 1, and then the price goes up.
You're all
That's it.
set?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. I want to repeat Mr. Slavin's warning about the cold. It's really, really cold out there. Actually, some schools were canceled around the Boston area yesterday because they were very worried about children walking to and from school. And I know that the Tigers are doing canning, or not canning, they are collecting cans and bottles to finance the cheerleaders' trip to Florida sometime later on this year. I managed to get rid of about 5 bags of cans the other day, so keep looking on their website for that opportunity. And the record will show that Mr. Sullivan joined us at 7:03. And I don't know why you're there. Okay, town residents' comments. Let me see. I don't see anybody there. I'm not sure why Mr. Swenson is in the meeting, so could you take him out of the meeting, please? Put him back in the waiting room. Thank you very much. Board's comments, please. Mr. Slavin.
Okay. I'm sure everybody has heard the numbers today on the latest version of COVID. I think we hit 1.4 million new cases today alone, which is a pretty interesting number. They're now telling us that virtually everybody's going to get this, whether they like it or not. One mask, what most people wear, is no longer sufficient. We're probably going to get a request tomorrow that we all have to wear N95 masks or 2 of the regular masks. It's hard enough for some people to breathe with one mask, and it's going to be a real problem for two. The cloth masks are going to be basically a NG for everybody. It's going to be hard because people are getting tired and don't want to accept this anymore. Also, from the different organizations I'm involved with, there has been in the last couple of days a major movement to remote Zoom type meetings, no longer meeting or hybrid, no longer meeting in person. It's I'm expecting tomorrow that the Mass Municipal Association, which is well over 1,000 people in their convention the fourth week in January, there seems to be a movement that they're probably going to cancel this particular event and try and do somehow a remote. I'm not 100% sure yet, but that's the feeling I'm getting because they are meeting tomorrow in an emergency meeting. And this is happening everywhere, that people having events going on are canceling and everything else. So this isn't really a funny thing. People think that this particular version is not that serious. That if you have a shot, even all three, it's okay. It's not the case. We have people dying in increasing numbers, and I'm not sitting there making, bad news or whatever else. It's just what's happening. It's very discouraging that we haven't been able to control this, and we're in the cold weather, which makes it worse. So just please, again, as I've asked before, be careful. The other issue that I think it's really hard for the people in Wareham that like to watch the different committees function, what they say and do. I happened to watch the planning board meeting last night remotely, and I could not really see what was up on the TV screen on channel 29, which would have been one of the two different, I think that's the Verizon version. We have Comcast also. I've heard people complain about it before. It is definitely not a clear picture whatsoever. But what's really worse is that about every second word that comes out, you can't understand. So if you're listening, trying to know what's happening, I don't think you can do it. And it's been a constant issue for quite a while now. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it has to do with Verizon, the system. I'm not going to sit there and blame WCTV, because it might be something outside the control of their equipment. But we need to resolve that, because right now, if people are out there listening to us, they're not hearing us properly. If you're on Zoom and you have like an iPad or a computer and you're going in through the actual Zoom meeting itself, not just watching on TV, you can hear fine, you can see fine. But yet, if you're trying to watch it on TV, which the majority of the people try, it's not working. So technically, we're not really complying with the rules. We're putting it out there, but if you can't hear, it's an issue. So I think it's time we figure out what's going on and try and work with WCTV to figure out how we can fix it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. White or Mr. Ruiz, I'm going to ask you again to remove Mr. Swenson from the panelists. He needs to be in the attendees. Thank you. Mr. Manise.
Indeed.
Mr. Manise, I'm looking for you for board's comments, sir.
Right. I saw someone else getting ready to speak. There's a little, how it highlights yellow, but they're all set now. I like to piggyback on what Selectman Slavin said, and I think everybody knows it, but mask up, and let's do our best and respect other people. I see a lot of people not masking up, testing positive. Even as he said, even if they've had their vaccinations, and we do it to protect others, and hope they'll do the same to protect us. So that's all. Let's do our best to get through this thing, and hopefully the numbers will drop again like they did last year once the time of year passes, another month or so. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manise. Mr. Titlebaum.
Just be safe. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Going to ask one more time, WCTV remove Mr. Swenson from the meeting and back into the attendees. Thank you. I have no other comments, and so we don't have any appointments, reappointments, or interviews, or licenses and permits. So I would ask that Joyce Bakayaki and Jeff Sweat be let into the panelists, please.
Judy, just let you know that Sandy just said you can't hear on
Can't
the
hear who?
TV. Can't hear what we're saying on the TV. On channel 29.
Channel 29, all right, thank you.
It's breaking up really badly.
Okay, Mr. Swenson just informed me that he is not doing it or requesting it or anything, so Mr. Swenson, I'm gonna say hang up or something. I don't know how to remove you without, I don't know how to do it, sir. Okay, Mr. Sweat and Ms. Bakayaki, would you please unmute yourselves? Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, how are you both?
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome to you. Mr. Titlebaum, do you want to read the presentation?
Yes, 1 second here.
Yep.
Get it up on the agenda here. Okay, this is from the Board of Selectmen, Wareham, Massachusetts, presents to the Wareham School Committee, the Wareham School Building Committee, and Wareham Public Schools, this key to the new Wareham Elementary School, opened January 4th, 2022 to serve all the children of Wareham. These halls of Wareham learning are yours. Awarded this day, we, the Board of Selectmen, have hereunto set our hands and caused the official seal of the town of Wareham to be affixed this 11th day of January 2022. Wareham Board of Selectmen, Judith Whiteside, Chairman, Patrick Chopano, Clerk, James M. Muniz, Alan H. Slavin, Peter W. Titlebaum. Congratulations for all your hard work.
Okay, now I do have this key and there is a magic subterranean way to get this to Ms. Bakayaki. So Ms. Bakayaki, I'm going to send this key, which is the key to the school, to you through that magic location.
Here it is.
I'm very impressed.
You should be.
Wow.
Thank you very much, and we hope that you enjoy it as much as we think that you're going to. Thank you, Mr. Sweat, for being chairman of that committee. It's a absolutely spectacular accomplishment for the town of Wareham. And if you'd like to say anything, please do.
I just want to say it's an honor and a privilege to be here to accept this key on behalf of the whole school committee. I looked this up today. It was 1,162 days ago that the voters of Wareham came out and said yes. And we're so thankful. And to everyone who had a piece, there are lots of people who had a piece in this project. We're thankful to everyone. We look forward to the ribbon cutting in the spring so that everyone can come out and get a look at the beautiful building. And I will make sure that this key is displayed proudly at Wareham Elementary.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Sweat?
And I would add to Chair Bakayaki's thoughts, this never would have happened without the support of the voters, but there are a lot of bodies, including your own, that got behind this project very early. It seems like it's been many years. It probably has been many years in the making. I will specifically speak to the school building committee itself. Many people may not realize there are a lot of just your average citizens on this committee who committed their time and expertise to making sure that the decisions we made were good ones. And I thank every one of them for their not only their expertise, but their reliability and thoughtfulness as we went through this process. But as Joyce said, without the citizens behind this project, it would have never happened. And I know the school committee and the school building committee are thrilled that we're able to bring it well under budget and actually just about on time. We thought it was going to be early, but in the end, it came in on time. So under budget and on time is what I call a successful project, and I'm thrilled to have been a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Titlebaum?
Yeah, I'd like to thank specifically Chad Crittenden, who was the project manager, local Wareham guy. Unfortunately, he lives in the next town over. Maybe we can lure him back. But I think he was highly incentivized to work hard and manage the costs and make sure that the best materials went into the school. So he did an outstanding job effectively as the project manager. And I'd also like to thank the town administrator. Again, he and I lock horns behind the scenes a lot more than you could possibly imagine. But when it comes to finance, he knows how to save the taxpayers money. And between the cost savings that that were actually occasioned during the construction of the school due to good project management and his financial acumen, I think it comes in at like 20 million bucks less than we thought it was going to. So the taxpayers are going to take a much less of a hit on this. And they were willing to take a pretty big hit to start with, so they should be overjoyed that they're going to be paying a lot less off. And I thank them for their work on this.
Thank you.
I need to add that we had two other people on the project management team, Mark Adrian and John Pope. Both have strong Wareham roots, and they were also critically important to the successful day-to-day management of this project. And I would also add that John Foster played a role, because the debt exclusion still required us to borrow some money. The good news is John was all over it and got the best rates possible for this town. And while we're talking about rates, that would have never happened without the financial management of Derek, because when I think of what the debt rating of this town was, I'll pick a number, 10, 15 years ago, and compare it today, it's far superior, and that saved us some money. So there's a lot of good work that went into this. And as I said, the town should be very proud of this project, and we hope to have a ribbon cutting sometime in March where a lot more people can see it. But I suspect parents and kids are already talking about it.
Thank you. Mr. Slavin or Mr. Manise, would you choose to speak?
I'll defer my comments because I have a couple things that later on we get close to the ribbon cutting. Right now, just thank everybody for getting the end result that we needed.
Thank you. Mr. Manise?
Yeah, thank you. This was kind of a surprise and a fun little ceremony, and all the best. Thanks again.
Yeah, that magic tunnel was really hard to work out.
That worked really well.
It did work
Who's
really
the
well.
artist? Who's the artist?
Something tells me that Joyce and Judith are not going to tell anybody how they did it.
No, we're not.
They're
Mr.
not gonna tell us.
Sullivan, choose to address either of them?
Yeah,
For
I'd
the
like
town?
to thank everybody for their kind words. It's the Wareham team that gets these things done, and I appreciate it. That's on behalf of the financial team, our department heads. I'd like to specifically also thank Mr. Menard, who, by going to all the meetings and being tougher than anybody can imagine, he actually allowed me to not have to attend the meeting. So I think, Jeff, it was sort of the Ferris Bueller moments whenever you called my name for the school building committee. So it's go without people like Dave Menard, and yourselves, Jeff, being on there. I know there's a lot of people that were involved, so I apologize if I'm not mentioning them, but thanks to everybody in that team. That school is it's beautiful. And when you go up there looking out across everything, it is so calming. It was just done so well. Thank you all for your hard work and putting it together.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Bakayaki, Mr. Sweat. We appreciate the time that you took to come and visit with us, and enjoy your key. Thank you very much, and good night.
Good
Have a
night.
great evening.
Thank you. Could we have Juwan Gamble brought in as a panelist, please? And Juwan, if you have somebody else with you, let me know, and we'll let him or her in too. Juwan, oh, there you are. Do you have anyone else with you that you'd like to bring into the meeting, Juwan?
I didn't know that I could, so I'm here by myself right now.
Okay, great. Thank you. Why don't you introduce yourself? I've invited Juan here to talk about the community youth empowerment group that he has, which just was recently certified as a 501c3. Am I correct? Which
Mhm.
is wonderful. I'd really like the community to hear from you about the program and its goals and what we can do to help you.
Okay, so I'll start a little bit with myself. Juwan Gamble from Wareham, born and raised, went to public schools. I went to Deaconess, then Wareham Middle School, Wareham High School. I had Mrs. Whiteside as a teacher. And so I've been through the process of the public schools and the community and engagement and things like that. So big fan, and I love the town that I'm from. So recently, after college and grad school, I went to work at an organization in Boston under Mayor Walsh, and that was to do some youth development and youth workforce. And that was really focusing on teaching these youth that came from challenged backgrounds with barriers, whether that's family, DCF involvement, DMH involvement, and really working with them to teach them life skills and assets that will help them to live a independent and successful life. So with that, we did like financial literacy work, professionalism, resume building, and just overall volunteer work in the community to learn how to build like punctuality, be able to hold a conversation, communication skills, and things like that. While doing that, I realized that Wareham is similar in a lot of ways with a lot of youth who don't really have, with a lot of youth who are either struggling in school or they have certain barriers that they might be suffering with, single parent households, maybe their families are incarcerated or there's drug use and things like that. So I thought that the work that I was doing in Boston, I could really bring to the town of Wareham, and I think it's a much needed program. So what we do are a lot of types of programs. Our mission statement is that we're a local community organization providing skills, knowledge, and mentorship. And we focus on middle and high school students for our workshops and our mentorship. We love to engage and make community ties and relations with other individual leaders in the community, business owners, everything like that, who love to be involved with us as well. And the biggest thing for us is giving back and showing the youth how to give back as well. So our population is anywhere in Wareham, but we also have had students come from Bourne to some of our workshops. We've had Tabor Academy involved in some of our events as well. So there's a lot of exposure for students to meet other students from other communities as well. We got started in about 2 years ago. So 2020 is when we just started, and it was really a pilot. We just did virtual workshops. We had student interns, and we gave students stipends for whoever was involved. And through that process, we were writing the 501c3 applications, articles of incorporation, and things like that. So now we, like Selectman Whiteside had mentioned, we are finally tax exempt 501c3 status. So that kind of changes the game a little bit for us. And hopefully with the help of the town and anyone who's really on this meeting and paying attention, ways that, if with whether it's grant writing or more exposure, whether our workshops are posted online for students, really just even having like a parent teacher night or something like that to continue to spread the word. We are a relatively new program, so not maybe the word's out there, maybe it isn't, but some of the work that we're doing is really good work and really impactful for the students and for adults. So the current programs that we run right now is a career readiness initiative. These workshops are focused on mental health awareness, financial literacy, career exploration, resume building, We just did a really interactive workshop with the students. It was New Year, New Me. So we focused on short-term goals, long-term goals. We all developed vision boards of like what we would like to do for the year. And one great thing about our workshops is that it's educational, but then it's also interactive, and it gives like a little hint of just like normality. We also have a youth leadership initiative where we take on 3 to 5 student interns, and they work with us throughout the year. And then for the seniors that are going to college or for trade school or whatever, they get an award from us, a stipend, usually $500 to $1,000. And then we just implemented the Level Up initiative. This is our first mentorship with the Wareham High School. So it's working with the 8th grade students, and we match each student up with a mentor. The mentors go through a Corey check, they go through fingerprinting, and then they go through trainings. They're also mandated reporters as well. So we're really focusing on the students that have the most barriers and struggles in school right now, and we're trying to fill that gap with individual who will be supportive, a soundboard for them, and really can help guide them to the next step. The good thing is that we'll try to focus on that one mentor and one mentee to work together until they graduate. So from 8th grade to senior year, they'll be working together. And it's really an interview process and everything to see how much commitment the mentor has for each student. Future plans for CYE, I mean, the list can go on. I'd like to have like paid staff. I'd like to have an office space or a location where we could work out of. I'd like to pay for tutors, and just really expand this program into other towns. That's kind of the gist of like what we do. If anyone has any questions or feedback.
Great, thank you. Mr. Slavin?
I'd like to thank Mr. Gamble. We always hear people either complain or say they like to do something, and that's all we hear is verbiage with no action. Mr. Gamble has not just tried to put something together, but he's giving a major portion of his life to making something happen that's tangible. It's going to become an organization because the 501. He can go out and they can raise money. They can do fundraising. They can go to different organizations and people, and they can get funds which then become tax deductible for the individual as well. But again, it's the idea that, it's great to have an idea. It's something else to commit to making that idea, not just work, but end up with like an organization. Now, I'll give you a couple examples in our area. We have the Buzzards Bay Coalition. That was an idea which people finally said, enough's enough, and we're going to put it together and make it work. It's a huge amount of work to make that happen. Wareham Land Trust, another same type of deal as well. Onset Bay Association with Cat Jones and stuff, become a major success. I expect this to be even better because you're going to reach out outside of Wareham as well. And this is needed in the surrounding communities as well. We have an obligation to the youth, as we have an obligation to our seniors. And it's easy to close your eyes and walk by and not look at what's happening. I thank you very much for actually committing to do something which is invaluable as far as, you can't put a number on it. I just thank you. Simple as that.
Thank you. Mr. Manise?
Thanks a lot, Mr. Gamble. And you have a regular full-time job too, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, pretty amazing. And it's great to see people stepping up and doing these types of things. And as you just said, you've applied and for your 501c3, legitimizes the organization. And good luck moving forward. You're doing a great thing. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Titlebaum?
Yeah, I think Joanne's doing a great job. I see the programs and the nature and the quality of the programs that are being offered when he announces them on Facebook. Talks a lot about financial literacy. There's programs to deal with family issues. There's programming to deal with drugs. He runs the gamut of sort of the types of non-governmental organizational things that it even goes beyond what the Boys and Girls Club was doing, because he's, I think, addressing older kids with the high school kids. And so a lot of people tend to give up on kids once they turn 13 or 14, and they don't think they're malleable anymore, and they can't be sort of shown a way to a better life and to be confident that they can go out and get that better life. So I think he's really stepped into a breach here that I don't even think was really even being addressed at the time that much with the Boys and Girls Club. I think the focus there might have been a little bit younger. I'm also glad that the coalition is letting the organization use the bathhouse that was built with community funds to some extent. And it's nice to see that the coalition is paying back the community by having Mr. Gamble and his program in there. Finally, we just received word today from Jamie Rebhan, who works for the contractor that handles our community development block grant, that the application process, we still don't know. We usually get the applications in, and this includes a fairly substantial amount for social services through the mini block grant that we get because we're an entitlement community. And so typically we're doing that now. We're hearing from them what the proposals are, so on and so forth. But that's going to be pushed off probably due to the pandemic. So I'll certainly be happy to keep Joanne in the loop as to when applications for grants can be made there. They're competitive. I mean, we get more applications than we can fund. The selectmen submit the grant application. The grant comes to us, so it's basically our grant to award. But I would suggest that you try to write something for that, especially where you're looking for some financial support for office staff, tutors, and things of those nature. So really look forward to working with you going forward.
Thank you. I just have a couple of things that I would suggest, Joanne. Do you have a mailing address for people who want to send you checks?
Yeah, so we just use a PO box right now.
Okay, could you tell us what it is?
Yes. It is PO Box 820, West Wareham, Mass. 02576.
Thank you. And most of your classes have been held in the coalition bathhouse?
Yeah, so there's a lot of space up there. So we're able to spread out. We're able to facilitate small group work if needed. And I believe the area is filtered as well, like the room's filtered too. So like continuous filtration. But yeah, I definitely think Kat first. I don't think she's the director there anymore, but she jumped right in to allow us to use that space. And I do also want to give credit before I forget to, like, obviously everyone in the community that's helped so far. And then to my CYE team and board as well, because none of this would have happened without them either. So I definitely want to give them a huge shout out as well.
Great, thank you. Are you looking for volunteers in any particular field, Joanne?
Volunteers always. Most importantly, I love to hear from anyone who, like, we usually post our list of topics. If anyone has a expertise in that area, or they would love to, facilitate a workshop, that's something that I would love to hear from. But the biggest thing for me right now is the mentorship. I think that there is a large number of students that aren't being touched, like they're not being seen. And I hate to sound like I don't want to come off as if I'm undervaluing our school systems. That's just not the case. I just think that our community can help out more than they do. And I think that one-on-one mentorship is very pivotal for especially the students that we're starting to give up on and the students that are kind of underseen. So there's like the top of this list of students who are very well academic, and then there's like kind of the bottom that get more attention, but that middle gray area is a lot of students who need some support and guidance. And growing up in high school, I was in that middle area. I eventually got to do well afterwards, but I was in that gray area in the middle where you didn't really know what you were doing. And, single parent household and things like that. I didn't have that guidance and support. A mentor would have been great.
Okay, great. So can you just you have a website, obviously. Can you just tell us what that is?
Yeah, so it's www.warehamcye.com. I don't know if I'm able to, am I able to type? Can they see? I type it. Did I type
Um,
that in?
Not unless you do screen sharing, I don't think. That's okay. If you just repeat it again.
So www.warehamcye.com.
Excellent. Thank
You
you.
can put it up in the chat too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, if I could do that.
Okay.
Okay.
And then if anyone wants to just reach out for the email, they can
Yep,
do that
there
as
it is.
well.
That's good.
Mr. Sullivan, do you have any questions or comments?
You caught me bringing up the webpage. So,
Sorry.
didn't see anything on there. No, I appreciate it, Mr. Gamble. Thank you very much for, it's
Great thing.
not just doing something for the community. It's really, it's doing, I was listening to what you're talking about in Boston. It sounded a lot like city year. And it looks like you've taken some of those, those attributes and really meshed it to what you're seeing going on, which is, that's so difficult to do. So, well, good for you. That's everybody involved. Like you said, you've got a board and other people engaged. So I think no man's an island on one of these things. So it's congratulations to everybody. And so there's a lot of hard work involved. So very well done.
Thank you. I'm guessing that the thing that you need most other than money is volunteers to be mentors. Am I correct?
Yes, we aside from our workshops and mentorship, like our community events that we host, though we usually have enough volunteers for that. Like that is usually never a problem. Like the breakfast with Santa, the trunk or treat, those are all events that we have a lot of people willing to volunteer. But it's really that gritty like mentorship that we really need, and it's a commitment, but it's to help a youth. You know what I mean? It's rewarding.
Okay, great. Thank you. Unless any of you have any further questions or comments for Mr. Gamble, thank you very much, Joanne. I appreciate seeing you. Very successful young man and a Wareham High School graduate. Congratulations. You are one of our stars. Thank you.
Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
No problem. Good evening. Mr. Sullivan, could you do the presentation on the senior citizen tax work-off program? Just lead the discussion.
Yeah, I don't know much of a presentation, if you will. It's something we do annually. The Board of Selectmen has, I don't know how else to put it, has been generous in that the town is exempt from Massachusetts minimum wage. So we usually follow the federal minimum wage, but the selectmen it sounds like going at $14.25 an hour, which is the 2022 Massachusetts minimum wage. Next year it goes up to $15 an hour. It looks like for the senior work off, if you qualify, it'd be for 84 hours at the $14.25, which is $1,200. That is basically, it goes towards your tax obligation. These are one of the changes. It used to be only $600, and some of the seniors preferred that because you did not get a 1099. But now where it's over 12, where it's over 600, we are required to do a 1099 on it. This is just something that pretty much happens every year. And again, I appreciate the Board of Selectmen increasing the hourly rate, and I know, like I said, increasing the total overall remuneration, if you will.
Great. It is capped at $1,200, and it does need to be your against your primary residence tax bill. The applications are available in the Council on Aging office. They're also, I believe, available online. Am I correct, Mr. Sullivan? I think so. We do need a vote from the board to authorize the program for this year. And you did get a package of what it looks like last year and the new application, which includes other documents that we now require for people who work within the town hall or the town government system, albeit on a volunteer paid basis.
Motion so made as the package is presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. You have a question, Mr. Titlebaum?
Not a question, just an observation. A week or so ago, a citizen reached out to me and wanted to know why they were not seeing the reduction on their tax bill. That's because the work-off information came in after the tax bills were prepared. So if you've got a question on that, you can call the treasurer. I would suggest getting a hold of the treasurer collector's office and just confirming. But what I was told by the treasurer collector was that $600 would be coming off of each of the next 2 quarters, which are the third and fourth quarters. So just for clarification for people that are wondering why they didn't see it on their tax bill.
Okay, great. Thank you. I didn't know that had happened. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I will do a roll call vote. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes,
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
myself, yes, 400. Thank you very much. Before we move on in the agenda, I have something that I'd like to read. The next item on the agenda is a discussion and vote regarding the acquisition of property known as Little Harbor Country Club. The Board of Selectmen has held a series of executive sessions to strategize about negotiations and price regarding the real property and the equipment owned by Little Harbor Country Club. The board voted to authorize 3 individuals to meet with the owners of Little Harbor Country Club to engage in negotiations. Those individuals are myself, Town Administrator Sullivan, and Town Council Bowen. The Board of Selectmen also authorized during executive session an upper limit purchase price. During several conversations with the owners of Little Harbor Country Club, one or more of these individuals was able to gather an enormous amount of information on the course. It was not until January 4th, 2022, that the owners gave in writing the parameters of what they would accept from the town in order to enter a purchase and sale agreement. That information was discussed during the executive session of January 4th, 2022. And during that meeting, the Board of Selectmen voted unanimously to accept the parameters and get the deal done. The reason we are planning to call a special town meeting is to ask the voters to approve the purchase of Little Harbor Country Club at a price of $2,300,000. The owners also stipulated a return date of February 28th, 2022 to commit to the offer. The purchase of real property by a municipality is governed by law, and it includes the town meeting, which must approve such a purchase. So the deal is not done until the town meeting approves it. There are several details of the offer that need to be ironed out, including how to finance the purchase, as well as finding a professional management team to manage the course, among other things. Toward that end, the Community Preservation Committee has graciously agreed to hear a preliminary but detailed request at its meeting tomorrow night to possibly finance the purchase. That, of course, is not the only option available to the town because of our excellent bond rating and stable financial position. Bond counsel has been given the details of the proposed purchase, and that would also be an acceptable method of providing the funds for the purchase. After tonight, we will release a 2-page public relations colored document, which gives a brief overview of the benefits of purchasing the course and holding it as a recreational land, which is also open space. That will be posted on the town website. We also plan on having at least one informational meeting for the townspeople to learn about the proposed purchase and its benefit to the town. And now we will move on to the item, Mr. Titlebaum.
Yeah, you're looking for a vote to go ahead with pursuit of the purchase of the property through a town meeting vote. That will contain the funding, the purchase amount in the terms of the deal, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
So made.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on the motion?
no, I'd just like to say that, previous to this, we tried to work with Mass Audubon to retain the property as open space, but active recreation. and we were unable to successfully negotiate anything with them. And we're basically purchasing the property for open space and recreation, but hopefully to preserve an active recreational opportunity that we need for the town. Thanks.
Thank you.
So,
Yes, I guess I didn't say it, but it would be, the proposed purchase contemplates, and in fact, intends to keep the golf course as an 18-hole golf course and have it managed by a management team, a professional management team. All right. Any further discussion on the motion? Roll call vote. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
yes,
myself, yes. Thank you for the clarification, Mr. Manise. The next item, Mr. Titlebaum, we have some scrivener's errors.
Yeah, the version that we got in our packets for the process for calling a town meeting, special town meeting, was actually my first whack at it. Subsequently, the moderator and then our chairman found a couple of mistakes in both the process and also the notice that we've got to post, that we have to post this week. So I'll have new versions ready in the office first thing tomorrow, so that we can execute the correct notice of the special town meeting. So anyway, I'll go through. The first one is to establish the process. Well, no, we're going to do our intention first, I guess. I'll read the intention out. This is going to be a motion. Notice of February 22nd, 2022 special town meeting, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Plymouth Shire Town, to either of the constables of the town of Wareham. Greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and in accordance with the provisions of Division 1, Article 1, Section 2 of the bylaws of the town of Wareham amended, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the legal voters of the town of Wareham that a special town meeting has been called by the Board of Selectmen to be held at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, January 22nd, 2022, at which the time the business of the town meeting shall be transacted. The warrant for said special town meeting shall open on January 14th, 2022. The last day for submission of articles to the office of the Board of Selectmen at the above address to be inserted in the warrant is Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. The warrant for this meeting will close on Tuesday, January 25th, 2022, and you are hereby directed to post this notice upon the town's principal bulletin board on or before Friday, January 14th, 2022. Hereof fail not and make due return of this posting with your doings thereon to the town clerk, given under our hands at Wareham this 11th day of January in the year 2022. Wareham Board of Selectmen, Judith Whiteside, Chairman, Patrick G. Tropiano, Clerk, Alan H. Slavin, Peter W. Titlebaum, James M. Manise.
May I have a second to this motion?
Second,
second,
and just a comment, we're combining, looks like E and F together actually at all at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I haven't read the process out yet,
Yeah.
so that'll be a separate motion, Alan.
Okay.
We should probably vote our intention before we lay out the timeline, because if the board doesn't vote the intention, then there is no sense in reading out doing the process, because it's not going to happen.
The only reason why I bring it up is we basically have already, in your motion, we include the dates for the town meeting as well. So if F says we're going to establish the dates for the special town meeting, we're doing it with the intention.
Well, to some extent.
It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, we're doing E and F together. It's fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah, the
fine.
notice is actually required under the law. The process is something that we do more as a courtesy to the residents, so it goes up on the website, and for the media to know what the dates are and so on and so forth.
I understand. It's
Thank
fine.
you for the clarification. We have a motion and a second, and I will go for a roll call vote, please. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
yes,
and myself, yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Titlebaum.
Yeah, now I'll make the second one for the process. And again, this is, not required by law, but, at least it sets it out there. It's pretty easy to understand. Process for calling a special town meeting Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. Tuesday, January 11th, 2022. Board of Selectmen establish all dates for completion of a warrant for the special town meeting. Friday, January 14th, 2022. Last day to post upon town's principal bulletin board and the town website, notice of intention of Board of Selectmen to call the special town meeting for February 22nd, 2022, and to open the warrant, which is under Wareham Home Rule Charter 2-4C, which is 10 days notice before the warrant closes. Tuesday, January 25th, 2022, last day for articles and/or petitions to be inserted in the warrant. This is under Wareham Home Rule Charter Section 2-4C, 10 days or more after the warrant opens. Tuesday, January 25th, 2022, Board of Selectmen officially closed the warrant. Friday, January 28th, 2022, last day to post the special town meeting warrant upon the town's principal bulletin board and on the town website, and to deliver a copy of the warrant to the town administrator and town moderator rather, and to the chairman of the finance committee. This is under Wareham Home Rule Charter Section 2-4D. Warrant to be delivered at least 21 calendar days prior to the commencement date of such meeting. And then Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022, commencement of special town meeting. And those are
So was that a motion?
Yes.
Motion and second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion of that? I will go for a roll call vote, please. Again, as Mr. Titlebaum has pointed out, it really is a courtesy that we put it down on paper like this. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
myself, yes. Thank you very much. And
Just down to 48-hour business.
okay. Do we have any 48-hour business? I'm not aware of any.
No.
Thank
No.
you. Town administrators report.
Madam Chair, yeah, that was just, we talked about COVID earlier. I think you saw the numbers from Mr. McDonald. If you've not, the 361 new cases plus 31 probable. Remember last week we were in the 250s, and we had topped out at the mid 100s before. There was one passing today. Well, not today, last week. So it's tough, but they'll keep you advised of the numbers. We do have the mask policy in town hall right now, and people are being very, very conscientious of it. Seems like a lot of foot traffic has slowed down as well. Just a reminder, there's certain things you can still do online, such as any of the trash. We still have some people opting in. We've had enough opt-in where we had to order some new barrels as well. So we have them coming in next week. One of the other good news items is the auditorium. The ceiling in there has really come out excellent. They're doing a fantastic job, and they should be putting the final coats on there. I was looking at the floor. That's going to be cleaned up nicely, and probably the next steps will be choosing a paint color for the auditorium, getting rid of some of the what do you call it? Some of the draperies, if you will, some of the old ones. And then we have to figure out, there's a couple acoustic items we need to figure out. And we're also putting in some of the screens and such to make it usable for meetings, whether it would be board meetings or even town meetings in the future. So I'm really excited. That's been something, as you know, has weighed on me for years, that was a non-functional room. So it's coming along. It's really excellent.
Great.
So I know it's been used for a lot of things in the past. I think Madam Moderator told me that's where her prom was. So, and they had trekked in some beach sand for the theme. So really great history. I'm excited to get that up in a usable space again.
Awesome. Mr. Slavin, do you have a
I
comment?
just want-
Open?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Derek for continuing over the last 4 years to finally get this project done. I look forward to putting sound deadening off the ceilings, whether it's a fabric, whatever, so you can hear properly in there. It'll be really nice for the selectmen to be able to move in there and other committees and have sufficient area. So if you had 100 to 150 people wanted to show up to a meeting, we have the space for it. Plus, I think it puts out a nice, we'll call it a look, for people coming in and seeing where we run the meetings, looking at the hall, we have all the veterans listed that, passed away, et cetera, and the canon and a few other things. I think it's going to be a nice addition to, again, we have a new school, hopefully we'll have a new meeting area, et cetera. And I think it's a really nice piece. We're able to use funding, from different sources where we didn't have to tax the taxpayer again. And it's just another nice piece that's happening going forward. Thank you, Derek.
Yes, Mr. Titlebaum.
Yeah, I mean, I think I started getting dragged to town meetings in there when I was 4 years old, and sworn to silence on penalty of death, stuck up in the gallery with all the other kids, because that's what parents did back in the day. Of course, these days, society's different. You can't just abandon your kid for 2 hours at a meeting and hope that everything turns out okay without the state getting involved. So, but anyway, it'll be nice to get that building back. It has a nice capacity. The auditorium is nice, but the old buildings, when they're maintained and they're kept up, they tend to lend a certain, I don't know, solemnity to it, or I don't know how to put it, but it has a better sense of history and everything else when you're in those buildings, as opposed to, say, the newer auditorium. So I'll be glad to get back in there.
Great. I remember the town meeting that I remember the most in that auditorium was when Dr. Lincoln stood up. We were discussing and had been discussing for years the building of a new high school. And Dr. Lincoln stood up, walked to the front of the room and spoke it just was a very moving speech about how the voters of the town of Wareham owed it to the children of the town of Wareham to build a new high school, because of course, previously it was in the multi-service center. It was a unanimous vote, and that building got built, and it's kind of the anniversary of our building a new elementary school that I remember that, and why I remember that. So thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Is that all you have? Okay, thank you. Liaison initiative reports, Mr. Slavin.
As I said earlier, most of the meetings that I'm doing at the state, region, or local levels, et cetera, are either being canceled or are being fully remotely done now. It's going to be difficult moving forward to get things done in a timely fashion. Everything is starting to move again, like last year, basically putting things off until the summer or the fall, which makes it difficult. We have a lot of things coming down the line from the federal government, hopefully. So we have to keep diligent looking at what's happening so we can take advantage of the different fundings and different things available. I'll try and keep everybody updated as it comes along, starting actually with tomorrow. If the MMA decides to postpone or go fully remote on their particular meeting, which, like I say, is well over 1,000 selectmen, et cetera, for that, then I'll let everybody know immediately, because it's going to affect how everything else works. It'll all fall together. And that's about it for me. There hasn't been much because of what's happening.
Thank you. Mr. Manise?
What's that, Mrs. Whiteside?
I'm sorry, liaison initiatives?
Oh, so we're all done with Mr. Sullivan, I guess.
Yes, sir.
No, I don't have anything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Titlebaum?
No, the redevelopment authority is not meeting this week, giving everybody a week off, and we'll be back at it next week. Subsequent to that, we should be coming back to the Board of Selectmen with the RFP for the Tremont Nail Factory and get authorization for that to be released, so that we can come back and incorporate the respondents' desire to do a long-term lease there. So that's upcoming, and I guess that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, great. I have a couple of things. I noticed that many members of the DECUS steering committee are watching tonight. Most of the members have complied with the paperwork requirements that we had, and some of them have been sworn in, and a couple of others were waiting for our signatures on their cards or their affirmations. They will be meeting. I will call the first meeting when I get a consensus from them what time is convenient for the most of them. And I look forward to being able to get them hitting the ground running. Okay. The other thing I want to mention is that this morning there was a very unfortunate accident, but I want to talk about our first responders. Today's situation involved something that the Wareham Fire Department and first responders had not had to deal with before. And they were able to rescue an individual who had had a very serious and very unfortunate accident. And I want to thank the first responders. It's not the first time that it's not the town of Wareham, it's the Wareham Fire District and Water District, but it is all of us. We all belong to the town of Wareham. And I just want to let people know that I appreciate what the fire department does as their first responders. They were able to pull off a really kind of hairy rescue this morning. We have no minutes, nothing else to come before us. So
Like me to say something?
I'd love it.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second to the motion to adjourn?
There is second.
It is not debatable, so I will go for a roll call. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Moniz,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Good night, Wareham, and thank you very much, gentlemen. And
Please be
stay
safe.
safe
Good
and
night, all.
stay warm. Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night.